Straight ahead on Law&Crime Daily. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, Week 3 in highlights.
Suddenly I was guilty until proven innocent.
Depp finishes testimony with a strong statement. And what led up to this unique testimony?
You brought muffins, you said, from your husband, right? You gave those to Ms. Heard, correct?
May I clarify what occurred so that we can stop talking about the muffin?
Plus,
in cases like this, there is nothing anybody can do. They have the sole right to make the judgment whether they can continue to employ somebody or not.
Depp and Heard's former agent testifies over the Washington Post article's impact. And later, a look inside Depp's relationship with drugs and alcohol.
I think Jack Sparrow was more drunk than Johnny Depp, to be honest.
Law&Crime Daily covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law&Crime Daily. I'm your host, Brian Buckmeyer. We're taking a closer look at the highlights of Week 3 in the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard defamation suit. The lawsuit stems from a 2018 Washington Post op-ed written by Heard, where she describes herself as a victim of domestic violence. While Depp was never mentioned in the article, he argues readers knew he was publicly linked to Heard. Depp says he lost roles in both the Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean franchises as a result of the allegations. After Depp filed a $50 million lawsuit against his ex-wife, Heard shot back with a $100 million suit, doubling down on her domestic violence claims. Heard is expected to take the stand sometime next week. This comes after 4 days of testimony from Depp spilling into this week. While on the stand, Depp told jurors when he learned he would not be rehired for Pirates of the Caribbean 6 and how that loss affected him.
When did you first learn that Disney was not going to recast you in the Pirates franchise?
It was probably 2 or 3 days after this op-ed appeared. Captain Jack Sparrow was a character that I had built from the ground up, and was something that I of course put a lot of as you do with all characters, but you put a lot of yourself into the character. So, and also having worked on these films with these people and having added much of myself, much of my own rewriting of the dialogue and scenes and the jokes and whatever they are, I didn't quite understand how that after that long relationship and quite a successful relationship, certainly for Disney, that suddenly I was guilty until proven innocent.
Depp's attorneys ended redirect by playing an audio recording of a fight between Depp and Heard. After that, Depp made a powerful statement on domestic abuse.
Last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought for the first time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge thinks. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My
exactly, because you're.
What did you say in response when Miss Heard said, tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence?
I said, yes, I am.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Joining us today is legal analyst Dina and co-host Terry Austin. Dina, I don't think you could end a direct examination of your star witness better than what we just saw there from Johnny Depp. And the question is, how do you think that's going to impact the jury in this case as a whole?
Well, those recordings are actually very persuasive. We call them statements that you make at the time actually carry greater weight with rules such as hearsay, because the idea is that you're not strategically lying. So for him having said that at the time, for her having asked that question at the time, is quite important. But in terms of the defamation case, does it matter if he is also a victim of domestic violence? Probably not. His case is just saying that he never abused her, because if he ever did, then her statement was true. So although I think that is important, it's not everything that he needed to prove.
Yeah. Now, Terry, the UK libel case has given us somewhat of a preview for what Heard will likely say, that she was abused and was just able to hide it so that no one can see. How will that line up with the testimony we've seen so far?
Well, I think the testimony we've seen so far is from all of the personnel around Depp, and every one of them has said they haven't seen any injuries on Heard, but they've seen injuries on Depp. And we've heard from his security team, and they've confirmed that they have never seen any marks on Heard. Now, she's going to say that she might have covered it up with makeup, but you have you have to believe that she's going to have other people on her side confirm what she has to say about the makeup. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd expect her to testify, maybe someone with psychological background, and talk about what she's going through, but also probably an outcry witness, someone that she spoke to short in time to these alleged events. But of course, you've got to stick with us, and we'll give you those updates as they come in. Still ahead on Law and Crime Daily, there's more coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation suit. When we come back, what a forensic psychologist diagnosed Amber Heard with, and why her attorneys question the doctor over muffins. Depp Amber Heard defamation trial in Virginia. On Tuesday, a psychologist hired by Depp's defense team was called to the stand. She testified that Heard has 2 personality disorders. On cross-examination, things got heated over confidentiality.
You didn't disclose that you had met with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours and had dinner and drinks, correct?
I did not disclose that. It's not significant to the report. I justified it in this case. Actually, I sought consultation about it. This is a very visible case. It's been going on a very long time, and I understood that there would be a need to interview me and make an informed decision about my qualifications.
You were, in fact, so excited about being involved in this case that you told your husband that you were going to be conducting the examination of Ms. Heard.
That is not accurate.
The question that was asked was because you brought muffins, you said, from your husband, right? You gave those to Ms. Heard, correct?
May I clarify what occurred so that we can stop talking about the muffins? What happened was that I was getting ready that morning. I frequently bring muffins to the office. My husband did happen to know that there was going to be a celebrity client coming in. I asked him to go to the bakery near our house and pick up the muffins for me because I was running late. He brought the muffins back to the house. I brought them into the office. Ms. Heard and I enjoyed the muffins together. I think I made a comment to her along the lines like, my husband got these for us today, meaning he purchased the muffins. We are now enjoying them because of him.
Muffins. We talk about muffins in this case. Well, anyways, Terry, what were some of the highlights overall? If muffins are one of them, that's fine. But overall, to Dr. Curry's testimony that worked in Depp's favor.
Well, Dr. Curry was wonderful, and her explanation as far as the muffins were concerned definitely made her credible and likable. She was smart. She was credible. She is a clinical and forensic psychologist, and she is objective. She performed a number of tests, the Minnesota personality test, which has 567 questions. That's a lot of questions. And she made sure that she told what her diagnosis was. And the symptoms that she exhibited as far as Depp was concerned is that she had the borderline personality disorder and the histrionics personality disorder. She made it very clear there was no PTSD. So I think she was wonderful. She made her points, and I think that the jury really liked who she was and listened to what she had to say.
Yeah. Now, Dina, were Heard's lawyers able to damage the credibility or findings of Dr. Curry's results? And what's the doctor's testimony going to do for Heard when she goes up and testifies?
It's a typical strategy of trying to say that there's some sort of bias because they are getting paid by the team that they're testifying for. So that is fairly typical. This idea of the muffins. I mean, we saw that with so many of the witnesses for Johnny Depp, the ones that were employed by him. Amber Heard's attorney is really trying to say that that was why that they were testifying in his favor. It is clear, it came across that they all did like him. He seems to be a boss that his employees like. But there's a far stretch to say somebody likes the person they're working for and that they're going to lie for them under oath. I don't think that they showed that she was taking her bias that far.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see how that bias or those implications continue as the case progresses. Coming up on Law and Crime Daily, we're on to day 10 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. A talent manager points the finger at Heard's abuse allegations. Hear his video deposition after this. Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. In the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, the jury so far has heard from some of Depp's closest acquaintances. On Wednesday, his former agent testified via video deposition, telling jurors of how Amber's allegations affected Depp's career.
In cases like this, there is nothing anybody can do. It is the directive of the studio, and they have the sole right to make the judgment whether they can continue to employ somebody or not.
Do you believe that Mr. Depp is still a shroud of mystery, not visible to the public?
No.
And when did that change?
I don't know exactly when.
Would you say it was cumulative over the period of time as a result of all of the litigation and the publicity ensuing?
Probably. Agree with that.
Is there any one specific litigation that you believe most significantly impacted on Mr. Depp's personal reputation no longer being a shroud of mystery and not visible to the public?
My opinion is that Amber's accusations would have had the most dramatic impact on his off-screen reputation. I'm not talking about any one specific accusation.
When you say Amber's accusations, what do you mean by that?
I mean the things that she's accused Johnny of doing, both that have been made public.
Terry, is this the case right here? Damages to Depp's career, or does Depp's attorney have to prove more to show that he was harmed by this op-ed?
Well, I think that Carino was excellent for the defamation damages claim. They can show more, but he made a direct connection between that article and the lost opportunities. He specifically said that Depp did not get Pirate 6, and he talked about conversations with the studios and with the executives, and he basically said that Jerry Bruckheimer at Disney and others said, look, we're not going to go forward, and he tied it directly to what was going on at the op-ed, and the timing was perfect. So I think this was excellent. He could get more, I think, as far as other witnesses talking about the connection, but I think Carino did it.
Yeah. Dina, how does this work with Heard's case? Depp has to prove that she was lying, but what does she have to prove to win her counterclaim?
Well, she essentially has to prove the same things that he has to prove because it's a counter-defamation claim. So she's saying that statements that he and it's actually his lawyer said regarding that her accusations were a hoax. He has to, show that she has to show that defamed her. And his defense will be that it's true. And so a lot of the evidence that came out even now about, her hitting his finger, that goes also to his defense of her counterclaim. And then also she's going to have to show that she was damaged and didn't get movies, et cetera, as a result of his claims.
Yeah, the damages part for her is going to be interesting to see, but of course she's going to take the stand herself. When we come back, we're zeroing in on day 11 of testimony in Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Our analysts break down the most important testimony from all three witnesses of the day. Law&Crime Daily. We continue our coverage now in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation suit. On Thursday, jurors heard from the ACLU's general counsel. He testified prior versions of the Washington Post op-ed called Depp out by name.
This is an article that was in U.S. Today and specifically ties Amber's statements in her op-ed piece to Johnny Depp.
And when Jessica White says so much for not mentioning JD, what did she mean?
I speculate that she was saying that there were significant efforts made by Amber's attorneys to take out the references to Johnny Depp and her marriage, and yet nonetheless people made that connection.
And in particular, the reporter for the USA Today took her to be referring to Johnny Depp when she spoke of being the victim of domestic violence, correct?
Correct.
Because that was consistent with your understanding. She was referring at least in part to Johnny Depp, correct?
Yeah, based on my review of prior drafts of the op-ed, I knew that there were that she was referring to Johnny Depp and her marriage.
Jurors also heard from Malcolm Conley, who worked security for Depp. He testified about injuries on Depp's face and later what happened after the infamous fight in Australia.
On the left-hand side, under his eye, there's a swelling. And you see a swelling just on the left-hand side of his nose and under his left eye.
And what do you interpret that swelling to be?
What do I interpret it as? That's either he's walked into a door or a door's walked into him.
And how did Miss Heard seem to you when you saw her on that day when you arrived to extract him?
Crazy. 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 Fierce, you know, fierce.
Okay. What was the last thing Miss Heard said as you were taking Mr. Depp out of the house to go to your apartment and then the hospital?
Yeah, the last words I recall hearing as I'm getting Johnny out is, yeah, just off with your guys, you covered like you always do.
After that, jurors heard from Starlin Jenkins, another member of Depp's security team. He testified about the, quote, surprise Heard left in the boss's bed before leaving for the Coachella Music Festival.
What was your job that weekend?
Provide security and transportation, animal care, Amber's rolling assistant, take care of her, whatever she needed while she was there at the Parker or in out traveling.
And did you have any discussions with Miss Heard on the way to Coachella that evening?
We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed prior to leaving the apartment.
And when you refer to the surprise in the boss's bed, what are you referring to?
The defecation.
And what did Miss Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
What about the rest of that weekend, Mr. Jenkins? Any injuries that you saw?
No injuries.
Have you ever witnessed any physical abuse between Mr. Depp and Miss Heard?
No.
I know that's an interesting practical joke. Dina, what does the timing and the behind-the-scenes commentary of the op-ed say to you about Heard's motivations for releasing this article?
I mean, the timing of it being released so close to Aquaman, you could see it as either A, she wanted to help raise awareness of the cause and tie her to her movie, or as Johnny Depp's team is trying to say, she was using it for her own personal gain. I mean, they've said that was why she made the allegation to begin with back in 2016, was in order to extract more money from him for the divorce. And then again, this article was meant to kind of hype the publicity of her movie, paint her in a better light, essentially.
Yeah, I think the article came out on the 18th of December, and Aquaman, big Marvel and DC fan myself, I think came out on the 21st, so very close in time. Terry, at some point, Heard has to answer to the many, if not all, of these accusations. Is there a response that would give her a chance to win this trial?
I think what Heard is going to try to say is, one, Depp is a drug addict. She's going to try to say that he is an alcoholic. She's going to try to say that he has an anger management issue. And so she's going to portray him as someone who is uncontrolled and someone who could definitely be violent, not just against cabinets, not just against physical property, but against her as well. And because no one has seen what has occurred behind closed doors, she might just be able to say, look, you weren't there, you didn't know, I had to deal with him 24/7, and this is what I had to deal with. I think the problem will be no one has seen any injuries. We'll have to see whether or not her witnesses are going to support her.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Thank you both for your commentary, and thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.